formally come to inform him and solicit his support in my gubernatorial bid.
Governor Obaseki informs President Buhari of intention to seek re-election as INEC chairman meets political party leaders.
This is still a fight for life, and our advancement to phase 2 does not mean that COVID-19 has ended.
Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 announces reopening of worship centers, aviation, and some businesses. Plus, House of Representatives call President Buhari's second-term tenure high. Hello and a warm welcome to NTA Network News on the Nigerian Television Authority. We are live in Abuja. Today, reading with me is Michael Olale in Lagos and Kemi Oshin is in Ibadan. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll begin with the presidency, as President Muhammadu Buhari has been formally notified of the intention and desire by the governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, to seek re-election for a second term of office under the platform of the APC. This was when the governor paid him a courtesy visit to solicit his support as the leader of the governing party. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports.
Obaseki was in the State House to present his expression of interest form to President Muhammadu Buhari in respect of the forthcoming Edo State governorship election.
As a father of a country, as our president, you just should not assume or take things for granted. I just had to formally come to inform him and solicit his support in my gubernatorial bid. The president was quite warm, was quite welcoming. When I showed him my expression of interest forms, he looked through it and he teased me that he would not have to go through this again, and wished me good luck and assured me of his support.
APC governors, under the auspices of the Progressives Governors Forum, had earlier endorsed Governor Obaseki's re-election bid ahead of the governorship primary election scheduled for this month.
We believe that because of the connection which we have created with our people, we have no doubt in our mind that we will win any elections, direct, indirect, general elections in Edo State. We cannot turn back the hands of the clock. So there are certain things we just must accept and see how we can move forward. Whatever it will take to have peace, so whatever it will take not to lose lives in Edo, I am committed to.
Governor Obaseki, who also discussed with the president efforts at containing the coronavirus pandemic in the state, told newsmen that he will do whatever it takes to ensure that the killers of the University of Benin student Uwavera Omozua are fished out and brought to justice.
I'm going back to Benin, and that will be the first assignment. We must track down the killers, because it's gruesome, it's sheer madness. This is one reason why I have decided to contest and ensure that we impose a state of order in Edo and get rid of criminal gangs, even if they're in our politics.
Edo State governorship election is scheduled for September 19, 2020. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Now talking electoral matters, All Progressives Congress says it will comply with INEC guidelines on physical distancing to conduct direct governorship primary election in Edo State. This formed part of the resolution at the end of a meeting between the APC governors and the National Working Committee of the party. Saliu Abdullahi reports that National Chairman of APC Adams Oshomole and the Chairman of the Progressive Governors Abubakar Atiku Bagudu affirmed that the interaction is part of their strategic engagement to boost intra-party harmony ahead of governorship primary elections in Edo and Ondo states.
The meeting between the national leadership of our party and members of the Progressive Forum was to discuss issues that have piled up, especially from March 14th, when the forum met and agreed to meet with the National Working Committee under the able chairmanship of Comrade Adams Aliu Oshomole to discuss issues of interest to our party. We have, in the intervening period, many things have happened.
to discuss internal issues of the party, which are basically to explore ways and means of strengthening the party and ensuring that we continue to remain the most favored party in Nigeria. And we had a very, very, very helpful conversation. You know, it is one APC, there are no two APC. So, interacting and interfacing with our governors is something that will be part of our tradition. It is not something we have just invented. And today one was particularly helpful.
Governors present at the meeting include Rotimi Akeredolu of Ondo State, Simon Lalong, Plateau State, Babajinde Shaolu, Lagos State, Mohammed Inua Gombe State, Abdullahi Umar Ganduje of Kano, Abdulrahman Abdul Razak of Kwara State, and Abubakar Badaru of Jigawa State. Activities for the conduct of the governorship election in Edo State begins today with the display of notice of election at the INEC website and the Edo State office of INEC, while party primary starts from tomorrow. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu disclosed this in an online consultative meeting with political party chairmen. He advised chairmen of political parties to conduct rancor-free primaries and adhere strictly to the guideline for the submission of candidates through online. Political parties were also informed that those conducting indirect primaries are to submit lists of their delegates, while those adopting direct primaries is to forward a register of members to enable INEC monitor the process. Meanwhile, following the death of a member in the Zamfara State House of Assembly, the number of by-elections now stands at 10, and preparations are on for the conduct of the by-elections, the INEC chairman assured. The Petroleum Products Pricing and Regulatory Agency has released a new petrol pump price band of 21.50 naira to 123.50 naira per litre for the month of June. The ex-depot price is now at 102.13 naira and 104.13 naira, while ex-depot for collection is between 109.78 and 111.78 naira per litre. This development follows a review of the prevailing market fundamentals in the month of May, taking into consideration marketers' realistic operating cost. A statement by the PPPRA advises marketers to operate within the recommended price bands. It would be recalled that following developments in the global oil market, the downstream oil and gas subsector was deregulated, with marketers now free to import petrol. Nigeria joins countries with more than 10,000 confirmed cases of coronavirus as Armenia's Prime Minister tests positive for COVID-19. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday is here with global updates on coronavirus.
Despite testing positive for coronavirus without any symptom, Armenia Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan said his government is not considering a nationwide lockdown, but will continue to promote social distancing and other hygiene rules set out by health authorities. Armenia has lost 139 persons to COVID-19. Brazil has acknowledged the delivery of 2 million doses of hydroxychloroquine from the United States, while it expects 1,000 ventilators in few days. The drugs are to be used as a preventive measure to help defend Brazil's health workers against the virus and as a therapeutic. And at about 7 p.m. local time, tally from Johns Hopkins University shows that 6,300,873 persons have been infected by coronavirus globally. From this figure, 2,866,211 persons have recovered, while 374,537 people have died from complications related to the virus. On the dashboard of the Africa Center for Disease Control, the continent has now recorded 147,099 confirmed cases. 4,228 deaths, while 61,808 persons have recovered from the deadly virus. In Nigeria, 14 states and the Federal Capital Territory have added 307 positive cases of COVID-19 to the nation's tally, putting the total number of confirmed cases in the country at 10,162. Out of this number, Lagos contributed 188, the highest. Cumulatively, Lagos, Kano, Katsina, Oyo states and the Federal Capital Territory are at the top of the chart, while Taraba, Anambra, Abia, Benue and Kogi states remain at the bottom of the log. I am Adebola, Brooksland Sunday. Thanks for your time.
First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, has renovated and equipped 15-bed capacity medical facility at Mararaba Garuku Medical Center, Nasarawa State, with optimism of supporting government efforts towards the defeat of COVID-19 in the country. State House correspondent Aliu Kabir reports.
Of the First Lady of Nigeria, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, at supporting the fight to defeat the global pandemic of COVID-19 in the country have been strengthened with the latest development of renovation of the 15-bed capacity medical facility expected to serve as an isolation center at Mararaba Garuku Medical Center, Nasarawa State. This is in addition to the construction of newly sanitary units and office accommodation, all for the benefit of the frontline healthcare workers at the center as well as the patients. The First Lady, through the Future Assured program, also donated palliatives comprising personal protective equipment for the personnel, as well as food items and other nutritious commodities. Taking into cognizance social distancing and other measures put in place by health experts and other relevant authorities during the official presentation of the items, the First Lady, in a message, reaffirmed her commitment to continue supporting women and children in this regard and many more similar gestures.
This is very special, where we are not just presenting palliatives in terms of medical equipments and medications, as well as food items, but we are also commissioning a newly renovated health facility, which Her Excellency has taken upon herself to do, at least to make the place conducive and to be served as an isolation center. So, in fact, that's why I say it's very unique.
And it's not only refurbishing or renovating this place, it also includes a further construction. If you look towards the other side of the building, there is a whole new wing that the First Lady constructed from scratch, from ground zero to this level.
To the government of Nasarawa State, this is a laudable gesture.
She's done that, and she wanted to give us a surprise, and which she did. And going through what she has done here, we feel quite excited.
What I want to say now is just to thank her very much for remembering us during this pandemic time. I'm very, very grateful for her remembering Nasarawa State.
The First Lady enjoined Nigerians to continue maintaining social distancing and obey all the guidelines by the authorities towards fighting COVID-19 pandemic. From Mararaba Garuku, Nasarawa State, Aliu Kabir, NTA News.
The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 has lifted the ban on religious worship but sustained the nationwide curfew and ban on interstate travel as part of new protocols for another phase of ease of lockdown spanning 4 weeks from 22nd to 29th June 2020. Chairman of the task force and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, says the gradual ease of the lockdown should not be misconstrued as the end of the pandemic. Mitari Epen tells us more.
Latest measures approved by President Buhari for gradual reopening of the economy in the midst of the raging coronavirus pandemic are a mixed bag of protocols for cautious progression into the second phase of the national response to COVID-19 and will be subject to review after the next 4 weeks. The nationwide overnight curfew remains in place from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m., but banks are now to commence full operations with all precautionary guidelines. Domestic flights will resume on the 21st of June 2020, while there will be restricted reopening of worship places based on PTF guidelines and protocols agreed by respective state governments. The ban on interstate travels remains in force, except for movement of agricultural produce and other essential services.
This is still a fight for life, and our advancement to phase 2 does not mean that COVID-19 has ended. It is still potent and highly wasteful of human lives. Majority of the confirmed cases are in a handful of local governments in the country. 20 out of the 774 local governments nationwide account for 60% of the cases.
Still on the latest measures, schools are to remain closed until further evaluation by experts, while hotels can reopen, but precautionary measures which include mandatory provision of hand-washing facilities, use of face masks, temperature checks, and observance of social distancing.
For government offices, they can open between the hours of 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., so no change in opening hours, but can work from Mondays to Fridays. Prior to this, we allowed a 3-day working week. However, only persons that are within the grade levels of 14 and above at both the federal and the state government level will be allowed to come into work.
The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 says the pandemic is far from over and cases of coronavirus in Nigeria will continue to rise, but that the latest decisions were cautiously taken to ensure a balance between saving lives and saving the livelihoods of Nigerians. In Abuja, Mitaire Ikben, NTA News.
And for more on today's Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 PTF briefing, we'll now talk to Dr. Sani Aliu via Zoom. Dr. Aliu is the National Coordinator of the PTF. You're welcome to NTA Network News.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so many weeks of lockdown, and then suddenly there's an ease of the lockdown. So what were the major decisions that informed the ease of the lockdown in Nigeria?
So we had to really look at all the various options. The issue is we really want to have a balance between saving lives and saving livelihood. As we said earlier on this evening, we went through a lot of options. We know what's been going on in other parts of the world. The last thing we want would be to relax things all together and end up with a really huge spike. The number of COVID-19 cases in Nigeria are still on the exponential curve. We are yet to reach the peak, but we've taken a pragmatic decision of allowing the economy to start working again, while at the same time most measures that we know will be significant in terms of reducing transmission. I think all these measures that we have put in place will not succeed unless we have the full support of the public, unless we have the support of all institutions, including both state governments, the traditional institutions, as well as religious communities.
Okay, Dr. Aliu, I'm sorry, I can't hear you clearly, but my next question is, interstate travel remain banned, but airports are to be opened. Is that not a contradictory to the directives of the ease of lockdown? Will there be passenger travels too?
So let me just clarify that. What we did for the aviation sector is to give them a 3-week leeway to start preparing to open up. So when we say 21st of June, we mean that from the 21st of June onwards, if they are ready, they can start operations. And as soon as they start operations, we will review the need for an interstate restriction such as we have at the moment. Of course, it's not possible to allow flights to go from state to state and at the same time continue to ban land movement. So that would be reviewed, but our expectation is that the aviation industry will need to do a lot of work before things come into place. They will have to sort out their aircrafts, the pilots will have to be retrained, health checks, etc.
Okay, travel ban is there, and the ease of the lockdown. Some states have quite contributed to flatten the curve of COVID-19 since the lockdown began in Nigeria. So most of them will be taking more responsibility. But do you think that they will be able to cope with everything that's going to happen after the ease of the lockdown nationwide?
I think the term ease is probably misleading. We are not really easing per se. We are trying to be flexible in a way. But when we say state government will start taking more responsibility, it doesn't mean the federal government will just hands up and say, right, you're now on your own. We'll continue to support them every inch of the way. There are states, as you said, that have a relatively high burden of COVID and still have significant ongoing community transmission. And what we don't want is a situation where all the boundaries, the state boundaries, open up and we end up having small fires becoming much larger fires across the country, which is why we are currently keeping those restrictions in terms of interstate movement at the moment. And we are also going to target increasingly more and more community-based interventions, such as looking at specific areas. As we said earlier, about 20 local governments are responsible for up to 60% of all infections. So we'll be targeting those areas, increasing the number of testing, providing community isolation centers, and also reducing travel across those areas. We will be working quite closely with the state governments to make sure that precision, what we call precision lockdown, can come into effect in those areas.
Okay, like you said, you're going a little bit flexible on the lockdown. What advice do you have for Nigerians? This is my final question to you.
The message we have for Nigerians is that COVID-19 is still very much around. As you can see from the figures being released by NCDC, we are far from reaching the peak. If you do not need to go out, please stay at home. If you fall within the vulnerable groups, those above the age of 60, those with underlying conditions such as diabetes, those with cancers, immunosuppression, etc., you are much better off continuing to lock down yourself at home, because this pandemic is far from over in the country. We are monitoring very closely, and that's why we are keeping some of the restrictions in place. But people need to be responsible for their personal safety and also the safety of their community. So please stay at home. Please keep away from the general public. Please comply with all the guidelines we have laid down, such as hand washing, such as physical distancing, etc. Because this problem is still with us.
Dr. Sani Aliyu, for coming on Network News and giving your insight on the flexibility of the ease of lockdown. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Speaking with Dr. Sani Aliyu via Zoom, he is the National Coordinator of the PTF. We now pause for some messages. Network News continues after this time out. Don't go away.
I wish to once again commend the frontline workers across the country who, on a daily basis, risk everything to ensure we win this fight. For those who got infected in the line of duty, rest assured that government will do all it takes to support you and your families during this exceedingly difficult period. I will also take this opportunity to assure you all that your safety, well-being, and welfare remains paramount to our government. I am using this opportunity to express our deepest condolences to the families of all Nigerians that have lost their loved ones as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is our collective loss, and we share your grief.
Oh yeah. can choose to do this with your stew, but not your data. Get more out of life with the new Airtel data plans. Dial *141# today. Data is life.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Milk is very important because it gives you a very balanced nutrition. It has very different components that the body needs. The country still needs a lot of milk for sure. It is a start of the process that we are keen to drive this. So it's in line with our purpose. It's in line with our strategy as a company, both locally and globally.
An angle where we are not looking at before, through artificial insemination done for us by Frisna Campaign Awamco under the DDP program. We are now producing milk and we have a market selling the milk too. With that, it improves our livelihood.
We continue to be on this journey and we continue to work closely with authorities. We've seen some commendable success and we would be happy if other people can join us. It is very important that we drive this agenda on dairy development consistently so that we can go to the next level.
Today, night all reach for me to settle blessing for you. When this girl first got this my shop called network. Now also on top of NTA 4G phone, now this girl could press. I provoke. No, it's short. It reach what time, eh? The ambulance make her tell her to make she mash her hat. Come out from my shop. And later I come realize say this girl go snap am, put her for inside internet. They take her to arts. Now I make customers that they come with my shop. Blessing, I want make you help me manage my shop now.
But I think Nami and Blessing start work the same time.
Now you and Blessing start work the same time. Blessing, you better start with a T-shirt for top of your 4G MTN phone.
Business makes sense on top super fast and reliable MTN 4G. Join MTN, make you enjoy double data.
John, you can use our toilet now.
Ew! My mommy said I should always use a toilet that is cleaned with Hypo toilet cleaner. James will bite my bone.
John, what's the problem? Use Hypo toilet cleaner. Introducing the new and affordable Hypo toilet cleaner. Kills germs and deodorizes your toilet.
Hypo. A united Nigeria,
strong in the fight
against COVID-19, to bring a voice of hope, to join hands to bring an end to this pandemic.
Kandi diko hafia si akwadara n'otu aka kandi nwere ikike ihu maka ahụike si dikwa nkwadebe maka ọgụ a.
Ní ayé àtijọ́, a farapamọ́ lábẹ́ àpáta Olúmọ, a sì borí ogun náà. Àkókò tó láti farapamọ́ sínú ilé.
Mu ci gaba da kaɗaita juna kuma mu kiyaye wuraren da akwai cunkoson mutane.
Muku mulo pipa prizinko lokaci de.
Womere ya mevokja wokura bowe kokekokyo woje seriji sanitizer wokura bowe.
Fulbe ballen ko emeden kawten jude kaben dun nyaw coronavirus. Daroden e wuro ballen gomnati ballen ko emeden dun nyaw dun waray dun dillay.
One Nigeria, different languages, and we shall surely prevail.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, Nigerian Film Corporation, powering possibilities in partnership with Nigerian Television Authority. You can't beat the rich.
If you're just joining us, this is NTA Network News and we are live in Abuja. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, says without the $5.5 billion external borrowing, implementation of the 2020 revised budget will not be feasible. The minister appeared before the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debts to defend the proposed loan. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Unko reports.
Mr. President.
4 days after the Senate received President Muhammadu Buhari's request for foreign loan of $5.5 billion, its Committee on Local and Foreign Debts has met with the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, and Director General of Budget Office, Ben Akabweze, for parliamentary scrutiny. The minister gave a highlight of Nigeria's current debt profile.
As of 30th of December 2019, the total domestic debt stock was 18.378 trillion naira. As at the end of December last year, the total stock of the external debt was 9.022 trillion.
The minister listed the projects under this proposed borrowing. These include COVID-19 support fund of $600 million, strengthening of healthcare system, $125 million, and the establishment of comprehensive COVID-19 testing centers in all states of the Federation.
From the International Monetary Fund, the IMF, $3.4 billion. This is a facility that has an interest rate of 1% and a tenure of 5 years with a grace period of 3 years.
The COVID-19 pandemic that's ravaging everywhere, I think we need to revise our budget, and the funding has to be provided.
The minister and her team also appeared before the Senate Committee on Finance, this time alongside the Accountant General of the Federation, Comptroller General of Nigerian Customs Service, Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, and the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, where she briefed the committee on the rationale behind the revised medium-term expenditure framework 2020 to 2022 and fiscal strategy paper.
Are we saying that $25 is the appropriate figure, benchmark that should be used?
We wanted to be conservative, and we projected a lower price for the whole year of $25 per barrel.
Why is Nigeria cost of production of a barrel of crude oil is the most expensive in the world?
Security is quite a huge chunk of the cost that we see, whether for the OPEX or for the CAPEX.
The minister also informed the committee that the federal government has cut down expenditures of most of its ministries, departments and agencies. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Legislature is the bastion of democracy, and the House of Representatives takes nation building as a joint task, which is why House members in the first 1 year of the Buhari second tenure spared no effort to build a robust partnership. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
Those I'm going to give to this government is that each time all these challenges they crop up, the government is always waiting at the other end to make sure that either to eliminate, mitigate or control.
Convinced by the sincerity of purpose of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration in growing the economy, building livelihoods and securing communities, House members across party lines decided to align with these aspirations by endorsing the policies and programs of government. House Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila has at every opportunity made it clear that a mutual relationship based on a shared ideology to sustain democratic culture is necessary for the benefits of all Nigerians.
This is a commitment that we made in our legislative agenda, and we will live up to this and all other commitments which we have freely made before God and the Nigerian people who have chosen us to represent them here in this hallowed chamber.
Nothing President Muhammadu Buhari brought to the National Assembly, to be precise, House of Representatives didn't go well. In 2 days, 3 days, we pass whatever he wants, and we have seen the result of what we are doing.
One area which House members are sometimes seen as foot soldiers of the president is their passion to support the fight against corruption. Appropriation as a core mandate of the legislature warranted an investigative hearing to enable the House know the whereabouts of trillions of naira of unspent budgeted funds at MDAs, some of which are allegedly unaccounted for.
All we are saying is there are allegations. Come and defend yourself in line with the principles of fair hearing. We have written to them. We have written to so many other government agencies, CBN, Akatanya, all of them. And we are getting documents. We are going to take evidence. And we have promised that this investigation is going to be free and fair.
Challenges pertaining to security, the economy, and other areas of endeavor saw House members rising to the occasion by way of legislative intervention, which enabled this administration to make significant impact in the first 1 year of the second tenure. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
The aviation sector is not left out as the industry has witnessed a robust turnaround in the last 5 years of the Buhari administration, with infrastructure provision, safety and passengers' comfort topping the achievement. In this special report, aviation correspondent Emmanuel Ayemiro examines the extent of development in that sector.
A pledge to complete all ongoing projects in the aviation sector was made by President Muhammadu Buhari on assumption of office in May 2015. It was therefore not a surprise for most Nigerians when the 34-year-old Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport Abuja 3.6-kilometer runway, a nightmare project abandoned by past governments, was taken on a 6-week target set starting on the 8th of March 2017 to 19th of April to complete the rehabilitation of the runway.
It was very good. I would like to commend the Nigerian Civil Aviation. I think they did a great job. It was a very good run.
The construction of a new international terminal building at the Abuja airport, which started in 2014, was also completed by President Buhari in 2018.
The commissioning of this terminal, Nigeria is moving towards achieving meeting global aviation standards in facilitation, passenger processing, and service delivery in tandem with international best practices.
If there's an airline that has an A380, it can come to this facility, for example, and can be handled.
Also, in the life of this administration, the Abuja airport became one of those in Africa to be linked by rail. Port Harcourt International Airport new terminal building was also completed in 2018 by the Buhari administration to boost passengers' comfort and prepare for projected traffic expected to double in the nearest future. The new international terminal building of Lagos and Kano airports are nearing completion. Another ongoing project is the rehabilitation of the Akano Ibiam International Airport runway in Enugu, also to be completed soon. Another key achievement is in the area of the provision and upgrade of instrument landing systems in most of the nation's airports. The good news now is that Lagos and Abuja airports now have Category 3 ILS, which can land aircraft at near zero visibility. With aviation safety now a hallmark of the Buhari administration within this period, Lagos and Abuja airports passed the ACAO safety audit and have since been certified. 45 billion naira gratuity was also paid to more than 5,000 retirees of the defunct Nigerian Airways by the Buhari administration. No doubt, with the current COVID-19 reality, the global and indeed Nigerian aviation sector is undergoing an unprecedented threat. However, there are strong indications that strategies in place will make flying the preferred choice once again. Emmanuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
The National Council for Arts and Culture is spearheading an online conference of critical stakeholders in the arts and culture sector to discuss how the sector can overcome the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. Director General, National Council for Arts and Culture, Otumba Olusegun Roshwe, says the conference evolves as a platform for sharing ideas on the way forward for the sector.
It is important and good for all of us, from time to time, different countries, to share experiences and let us see which way forward. We are indeed encouraged by your firm relief and Nigerian project in NCAC under my leadership. Nigeria will not fail. We must all work together. We must all work together to reposition our great country
Featuring on creating business opportunities for travel agents, the conference draws participants from both domestic and international audience. Thousands of vulnerable households across the nation are benefiting from palliative care from the Nigerian Navy, which says it is reconstructing its corporate social responsibility in light of the novel coronavirus pandemic. Correspondent Njaatu Tijani tells us more.
It's a bumpy ride in the rain to get to Kuje community, known for its agricultural produce, but now struggling even with the partial lockdown. 30-year-old mother of two, Christina, says her catering business, which depended on the cheap farm supplies, has suffered a setback.
Not been easy. There's no that food at home and all that. That is why I'm here.
It's the same scenario in Jiwa community, a few kilometers away. All this is about to change as the Nigerian Navy steps in.
We share in your pains, we share in your difficulties, and that is why we have come here to give you the little we have from the heart of our hearts. Permit me to also say that this initiative is also to support the federal government of Nigeria.
This palliative, it's will, but not as such. But thank God, because people that have nothing to eat today, tomorrow, this palliative will help them.
Beyond its target of reaching hundreds of vulnerable households, the Nigerian Navy says it will continue to evolve better community relations in addition to upgrading its maritime operations for better service delivery in this time of COVID-19. Najaatu Tijani, NTA News.
The Nigerian Navy restructuring its corporate social responsibility. More reports as we join Michael in Lagos. Hello, Michael.
The Nigerian Navy has presented palliatives to the residents of Ota in Ogun State as part of measures to alleviate the impact of the pandemic on the grassroots. Abolero Ibadan reports that the gesture is part of activities to commemorate the 64th anniversary of the Nigerian Navy.
The mission to Ota by the Naval Training Command was to deliver food and other essential products to residents who may be affected by the COVID-19 partial lockdown. 250 households, made up of mostly the vulnerable, benefited from the gesture. The Olota of Ota, who was represented, appreciated the Nigerian Navy for identifying with the community.
What they have done cannot be overemphasized. You will see that with the present situation we find ourselves in the world via this issue of the pandemic, the less privileged, they are seriously suffering. So for the Nigerian Navy to now come to the aid of our people at this point in time is highly appreciative. So we are glad and we are happy that we have them as a member of our community.
Acting Flag Officer Commanding Naval Training Command, Rear Admiral Idowu Yusuf said the Navy is empathetic about the plight of the needy at this critical period.
Just to also support the communities, and that's why the Chief of Naval Staff has sent us here with these palliatives. We have just 250 families just to assist them.
The Navy plans to extend same largesse to other communities. In Lagos, Abolore Ogbara, NTA News.
As the phase 2 of the eased lockdown to contain the spread of COVID-19 takes off on Tuesday, experts are optimistic that the additional measures will yield positive results. Jennifer Igwe reports.
To check the spread of the deadly coronavirus pandemic, a total lockdown was inevitable for states like Lagos, Ogun, and the FCT. With strategic guidelines and measures in place, a gradual easing of the lockdown was introduced for 2 weeks. Although the nation is still in the eased lockdown phase, the transition from a period of limited economic activities and stringent restrictions to vibrant commercial endeavors and freer movement has impacted businesses and lives of people in a fast-paced city like Lagos.
It has increased the level of economic activities. Quite a number of people have gone back to work, and they have been able to at least find their bear in terms of sourcing for their means of livelihood. So it has had a lot of impact. It has reduced the social tension, especially in a place like Lagos.
The gains are not just on commercial activities, but health and efforts to tackle the deadly pandemic. The Director General of the Nigerian Institute for Medical Research, a testing center for COVID-19, says more people now submit themselves for testing.
Before the lockdown, we were doing an average of 30 tests a day, perhaps because people were not able to move around freely. But since the ease of the lockdown, we are now doing an average of 120 to 130 on a daily basis.
Olaito Jacob, a banker, says the gradual easing of the lockdown phase has taken the edge of the usual stress and hectic lifestyle of workers in Lagos.
Right now, work can be shared in such a way that some people can work remotely from their home, while some can come to office to work and all that.
As phase 2 of the East lockdown commences, with a broader scope for businesses and more guidelines to ensure safer socio-economic activities while improving measures to flatten the COVID-19 curve, experts say more positive impacts are likely to be recorded. In Lagos, Jennifer Igwe, NTA News.
This is NTA Network News. More reports after this break. Please stay tuned.
Is on my camera. Yes, I need you like you need me, and I know it's awesome, my baby. Mi papa,
Stay home data plan. All existing Glow customers now enjoy up to 20% more data. Dial *777# to choose a plan. Glow Unlimited.
We understand that it's not just about buying a dress. Being able to pay your bills.
The chicken is showing tattoo.
But I just paid for it.
Promise.
I promise.
Making that quick stop at the shop, or sending some money home for the holidays.
We just received the money right now.
Oh, you're welcome, Mom. I told you I'll send it.
It's about the 90,000 businesses across 13 countries in Africa who trust us to keep their promises. It's knowing that anywhere, anytime, anyway, you can always pay. Flutterwave, simplifying payments for endless possibilities.
My neighbor Casey and I, we gel perfectly. We support the same club. Our taste in music, totally in sync. But there's one area where we differ. Casey loves his peak-filled milk because it is low in cholesterol. I, on the other hand, I love my Peak Full Cream Milk because it is rich and creamy. So, choose your Peak today.
Peak. Reach for your peak.
Everything is impossible until it's done. This has been our story since inception. And today, we can boast of a platform where everything is possible. And like before, we succeeded in getting your attention, didn't we? Quick Teller. Everyday payments made easy.
Got
GoTV dey your side as times dey tough so. We don see your loyalty and we appreciate the journey wey we don waka together. That na why GoTV dey sama you with better upgrade to the next package as you stay connected or reconnect. We dey your side with correct entertainment. You fit save up to 75% because na we. Na to stay connected or reconnect, GoTV go upgrade you at no extra cost. Wow! Stay connected with GoTV self-service payment options. Visit GoTVAfrica.com to gather more information about this better discount and our payment options. GoTV dey your side. Enjoy GoTV Wow Awoof. GoTV. Live it. Love it.
It's good to know you're still there. The Buhari Media Organization says President Buhari has been taking deliberate and necessary steps to achieve regional and ethnic balance in his appointments since 2015. The pro-Buhari media group is responding to a comment credited to Colonel Lengiwa Umar, retired, insinuating that the president is a sectional leader. The group in a statement says the impression is nothing but mischievous, aimed at tarnishing the image of the administration. BMO notes that the president would be guided by the principles of equity and fairness in his appointment this time. The media consequently urges Nigerians, especially opinion molders like the retired Army Colonel, to be wary of those bent on excavating the nation's fault lines with decisive claims and antics. Ibadan is our last port of call this evening with Kemi as our guide. Hello, Kemi.
Jumai, and welcome to Ibadan. Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has inaugurated a newly rehabilitated Eleyele Dam project towards putting an end to perennial flooding in the state. Ayomiku Ajibola has more.
The project is one of the many investment in flood control assets being implemented under Ibadan Urban Flood Management Project with funding and technical support from the World Bank. Governor Seyi Makinde said the project will be used to boost the supply of potable water to Eleyele neighborhood and other communities in the state capital.
What our government is committed to regular maintenance of the structure to ensure the gains of this investment are sustained. We expect that individuals that live upstream and downstream of the Omo River will do well not to judge the panel.
The governor also inaugurated the construction of 4 ultramodern bus stop terminals at Iwo Road, Challenge, New Ife Road, and Ojo in Ibadan.
We want to give an experience that will be second to none for bus transportation in Nigeria.
Upon completion, the bus terminals will ensure that the problem of gridlock in different locations will be resolved, while security breaches in motor parks will be efficiently tackled. The projects are expected to be completed within 12 months. Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
And that's it from Ibadan. It's back to Jumai for the rest of the news. Good evening.
Thank you, Kemi. Minister of Sports charges Super Eagles coach to get results if he must retain his job as Nigeria Rugby Football Federation distributes palliatives to players in Lagos. Olumide Okuntala has the details on Sports Update.
Sequel to divergent views of football analysts over the contract extension of Super Eagles coach Kenneth Rowe, the Minister of Youth and Sports Development, Sunday Dare, has declared that the contract will be terminated if the coach failed to meet up with the contract agreement. Meanwhile, mixed reactions have been trailing the contract extension of the Super Eagles coach.
I think the contract renewal is not bad at all because if you look at it for now, we cannot start looking for a new coach for now, for the Super Eagles for now.
The right step in the right direction because it's going to give him more time and give us more time, to build the kind of team that we want to see going into tournament.
Our future is not in the hands of General. If we cannot get a quality coach, super quality coach, let's stay at home. We have coaches at home.
1994. We shook the whole world, even at the World Cup, after winning the African Nations Cup. Nigeria should be patient with whoever we have as the giver for the national team.
In rugby football clubs in Lagos converge on the national stadium to benefit from food items from the federation, maintaining social distancing and other precautionary measures The Nigerian Rugby Football Federation distributed the palliatives with a promise to extend it to other players across the country.
We are sure it's going to go a long way at ameliorating difficulties.
So I've been grateful to the NFF board. They've deemed it fit to come to the aid of the players.
The Federation advised the players to follow all safety instructions from the National Center for Disease Control, NCDC, and other relevant authorities. With sports updates, Olumide Guntola, NTA News.
A quick check on the weather prospect for tomorrow is on now.